I used to tell a joke about Christmas shows, but I didn't have the gift for it.
I used to tell a joke about opening numbers, but I didn't know where to start.
That's enough. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time.
The party's on, the feeling's here. Not only comes this time of year.
Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time.
What is the best Christmas movie?
The best
Christmas
movie of
all
time is
die.
hard.
The oracle has spoken!
What? That can't be right. Are you tricking me?
We would
Never.
trick you,
We
would never
give
you up,
never
let you
down
never run
around
and desert
you.
The oracle has rickrolled you. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time. The choir of Grendels sing their song. They practiced all year long. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, 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 dong. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time. The moon is right, the spirit's up. We're here tonight, and that's enough. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmas time.
How sweet the moonlight sleeps upon this bank. Here will we sit and let the sounds of music creep in our ears. Soft stillness and the night become the touches of sweet harmony. Sit. Look how the floor of heaven is thick inlaid with patines of bright gold. There's not the smallest orb which thou beholdst, but in its motion like an angel sings, still choiring to the young-eyed cherubims. Such harmony is an immortal soul's.
Nothing looks as pretty as the winter stars are glittering, shining on a freshly fallen snow. And the blue light of the moon is giving off a loving winter glow. Such a tender feeling when the candlelight is flickering, and the window calls you home. And the fireplace is crackling, giving off a warming winter glow. Summer with its nights that last forever has its charm.
Fall with golden leaves to gather too.
Spring is all the brighter after April storms have flown.
But winter has a magic of its own. Nothing looks as pretty as the winter stars are glittering, smiling on the two of us below. And your eyes are like a child again, giving you a lovely winter glow. Ba ba da ba da ba ba da da ba, doopy da ba doo ba ba da ba, deepy doopy da ba doopy da ba da. Such a tender feeling when the candlelight is flickering, and the window calls you home, and the fireplace is crackling, giving off a warming winter glow. The blue light of the moon is giving off a loving winter glow. Your eyes are like a child, giving you a loving winter glow.
I used to tell a joke about Shakespeare, but people kept yawning. I think they were getting bored.
I used to tell a joke about a bunch of monkeys at typewriters writing Shakespeare, but ended up as a one-act play by David Ives.
I don't know! I just don't know!
Shh, quiet please, I'm trying to concentrate here.
Okay, so what have you got?
Me?
Yeah, have you hit anything? Let's hear it.
Pingdraba Inglewarp casserole. That's as far as I got.
I like the
Yeah, it's kind of, onomatopoetic.
I don't know. It feels to me like it could use some punching up.
Well, you can always throw in a few jokes later on. You gotta get the through line first.
But do you think it's Hamlet?
Don't ask me, I'm just a chimp.
They could have given us a clue or something.
Yeah, or a story conference.
But that would defeat the whole purpose of the experiment.
I know. 3 monkeys typing into infinity will sooner or later produce Hamlet.
Right.
Completely by chance.
And the doctor up in that booth is going to prove it.
But what is Hamlet?
I don't know.
What is Hamlet?
I don't know.
You know? This is really stupid.
Have you got something better to do in this cage? The sooner we produce the thing, the sooner we get out.
Sort of publish or perish. It's a twist.
But what do we owe this doctor anyways? A guy who sits behind those bars all day, pointing at us, saying, that one's Milton, that one's Swift, and that one's Kafka, just to get a laugh?
What's a Kafka
Search me.
What's a Kafka? And how are we supposed to write Hamlet if you don't even know what it is?
Okay, so the chances are a little slim.
Yeah, and this from a guy who's supposed to be smart? This from a guy at Columbia University?
The way I see it, there's a providence that oversees us. Or oversees our pages. Rough draft them how we may.
But how about you, Milton? What have you got?
Let's see. Of man's first disobedience and the fruit of that forbidden tree, whose mortal taste brought death into the...
Hey, that's good. It's got rhythm. It really sings.
Yeah?
But is it Shakespeare?
Who cares? He's got a real voice there.
Does the doctor care about voice? Does he care about anybody's individual creativity?
Let's look at this from the doctor's point of view for a minute.
No. No. He brings us in to produce copy, then all he wants is a clean draft of someone else's stuff. I mean, we're getting peanuts here to be somebody's hack.
Writing is a mug's game anyway, Swifty.
Well, it hath made me mad.
Why not just buckle down and get the project over with? Set up a schedule for yourself. Type in the morning for a couple of hours when you're fresh. Then, take a break. Let the old juices flow. Then do a couple more hours in the afternoon. Then retire for a shot of papaya. What's the big deal?
If this doctor was worth anything, we'd be working on word processors, not these antiques. He's lucky he could even find three who type this good. And then, he treats us like those misfits at the Bronx Zoo. I mean, a tire swing. What does he take us for?
I like the tire swing. I think it's a very nice touch.
I can't work under these conditions. No wonder I'm producing garbage.
How does the rest of yours go, Milton?
What, this?
Yeah, read us some more.
Blah blah blah, whose mortal taste brought death into the blamagam, bed socks knock worst, Tinkerbell. What do you think?
Blamagam is good.
I don't know.
What? What's the matter? Is it the tone? I knew this was kind of a stretch for me.
I'm just not sure it has the same expressive intensity and pungent lyricism as the first part.
Well, sure, it needs rewriting. What doesn't? It's just a rough draft. Lights on.
This bit.
Are they watching?
What?
Are they watching?
I don't know, I can't see. I've got my paws over my eyes.
What?
What is the point of this?
Lights off.
How about you, Franz? What have you got?
Well, K K K K K K K K K K K K K.
What is that? Postmodernism?
20 lines of that.
Nice little message is data.
20 lines of that, and I went dry. I got blocked. I felt like I was repeating myself.
But do you think that that's in Hamlet?
I don't understand what I'm doing here in the first place. I'm not a writer. I'm a monkey. I'm supposed to be swinging on branches, digging up ants, not sitting under these fluorescent lights 10 hours a day.
Sure is a long way home to the gardens of sweet Africa, where lawns and level downs and flocks grazing upon the tender herb were sweetly interposed.
Paradise, wasn't it?
Lost.
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 But what if one of us actually does write Hamlet? Like, here we are, set down to prove the inadvertent virtues of randomness and to produce something that we wouldn't even recognize if it passed right through our hands. But what if one of us actually does it?
Will we really be released?
Will they give us the key to the city in a ticker tape parade?
Or will they move us on to Ulysses? Why did they choose Hamlet? What's Hamlet to them or they to Hamlet that we should care? Boy, there's the respect that makes calamity of so long life For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely,
Hey, Swifty.
the pangs of despised love, the law's delay?
Hey, Swifty. Relax, will you?
Have a banana.
What about revenge?
Revenge? On the doctor?
Who else? Hasn't he bereft us of our homes and our families, stepped between us and our expectations?
How would we do it?
Easy. We lure him in here, act like, get him to test out our typewriters, look at them like something's wrong, test them out, but we poison the typewriter keys.
Oh.
Sure. Some juice of cursed Hibona spread liberally over the keyboard. That'll work on a jar.
Brilliant. Great.
If that doesn't work, we invent him the tire swing and invite him for a ride. Plus, I challenge him to a duel.
Brilliant.
Can't you see? In the course of the combat, I casually graze my rapier over the poisoned typewriter keys, and whack! A hit. A palpable hit. For reserve, we lay by a cup with some venomous distilment. I'll put the pellet with the poison in the vessel with the pestle.
Listen, I gotta get back to work. The man is gonna want his pages.
It's not a bad idea, but
What's the matter with you guys? I'm on to something here.
I think it's hopeless, 50.
But this is the goods.
Where was I? Red socks, knockwurst, Tinkerbell.
The readiness is all, I guess.
Okay, you two get back to work. I'll do all the thinking around here. Swifty. Revenge!
Pickleball. Android. Pomegranate. Yeah. That's good. That is good.
Act 1, Scene 1, Elsinore Castle, Denmark.
Pickleball.
Enter Bernardo and Francisco.
Pomegranate.
Bernardo says, who's there?
Bazooka.
I used to tell a joke about Rip Van Winkle, but people kept falling asleep.
Hello and welcome to Talking to the Stars on ABC, the only late night talk show not hosted by a man named Jimmy. And here's your host, Jimmy James Jimson.
Thank you, bass tone Brad.
Not a problem, James.
Hey folks, how are we doing tonight? Are you ready to
Talk to the stars!
Hey, what are we gonna see tonight? What's in the stratosphere? What's quaking at the end of our telescopes? Why, of course, it's what's on everyone's mind tonight and every night. I'm speaking, of course, of dreams and all things sleep-related.
That's right, James. Tonight we have two guests from the land of Nod.
Our first guest is a fellow who slept for 20 years. No, that can't be right. Can it be, bass tone Brad?
Put your hands together for Rip Van Winkle.
Don't you mean Rip Van Winkle?
No, I don't.
Welcome to Talking with the Stars on ABC, Rip.
Thank you, Jimmy.
20 years.
That's right.
That's 87,600 REM cycles.
That's right.
So many dreams.
That's right, Jimmy. In fact, that's why I'm here today. I would like to show you and the rest of your viewing audience a fitness plan that I came up with in the Catskill Mountains in 1789.
Wonderful. What do you call
I call it Sleep Yourself Fit.
Tell me all about it, Ripped.
There I was, Jimmy, walking in the 18th century, just myself and my faithful dog, Wolf, alone in the Catskills, when all of a sudden, I came across a group of fitness gurus. The Hudson crew, they called themselves. They were playing nine pins, bowling, and they asked if I wanted to play. So I got up, I stood in front of the pins, but what I did not realize was that it was not my turn. Next thing I knew, I was fast asleep.
What happened next?
Jimmy, I think we all know the crucial health benefits of getting adequate sleep. Cognitive benefits, increased learning, increased memory. We know how good it is for our physical health, our emotional well-being.
Of course.
But did you know that it can give you gains for days?
What's that?
Make you buff as a billy goat's gruff?
How's that?
Swole as a giant's dinner roll?
Wait, what?
You see, Jimmy, I learned something during my 520 fortnights in the land of Nod. Snooze Town, 40 Wing Station, Mr. Sandman Land. I learned something. Call it a lucid dream, call it what you will. I had a realization.
What was it, Ripped? What did you realize?
I learned that we can train our minds to overcome the body's natural state of protective paralysis that occurs during REM sleep, or dream sleep as it's commonly called.
You don't say.
Oh, I'm saying it, Jimmy. In fact, not only that, we can train our minds to dream of what we want to do. Want to do 40 supersets of squats and quads? Just catch some Z's and you could do it. 40 rounds of high-intensity CrossFit circuit training? Just catch 40 winks the Van Winkle way.
Riveting.
Want a demonstration?
What do you think, audience? Do you want to see Rip Van Winkle overcome his body's natural state of protective paralysis during REM sleep? So we can do 40 reps, we'll catch him 40 wings.
The hardest part is falling asleep. My life is so entertaining. Nothing bores me.
Try it, Mr. Winkle. Try it.
I'll count sheep. 1, 2. One, 2, 3. Challenge me!
This is too much weight!
Don't do it, Ripped!
Challenge me!
Amazing!
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Rip. Join us after the break, folks. We'll be talking to a man who suffered from disturbing dreams of 3 ghosts, one after another, all in one night. What a nightmare that must have been!
No, it wasn't. It changed my life. God bless us, everyone.
Love that Christmas energy. Don't nod off. We'll be right back on
Talking to the Stars!
Too nice. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York.
Ho ho ho!
Ugh.
And all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious reefs, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now instead of mounting barbed steeds, to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber, to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking-glass, I that am rudely stamped and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why I in this weak piping time of peace have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on mine own deformity. Therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days.
Mercy is not strained. It droppeth as a gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself, and earthly power doth then show likest gods when mercy seasons justice.
For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. How some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court, and there the antic sits, scoffing his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little scene to monarch eyes be feared and killed with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if his flesh, which walls about our life, were brass impregnable. And humored thus, he comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall, and farewell king. Cover your heads and mock not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away respect, tradition forming, and ceremony's duty. For you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you, feel want, taste grief, need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?
I used to tell a joke about the wall. It was appealing.
I used to tell a joke about outlining, but it was all over the place.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. All here, all here. Welcome to Whoville District Court. Will the jury please enter? We are here to hear a case of identity theft. In the case of Santa.
Yay!
V the Grinch.
Yay!
The Honorable Judge Hammerjammer presiding.
Where are the attorneys of record?
Ms. Who for the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Mr. Jeff Winghu for the defense. May it please the court.
All right, we are ready for your opening statements, counselors. Are you ready?
Ready, Your Honor. What am I going to say? How am I going to organize my thoughts?
What am I going to say? How should I start? How should I end? What's the middle part?
Is that the outline?
The outline?
He's here.
Can't be.
Is it really him?
Can't really?
Wow.
It is.
It's him.
The outline.
He's here.
The outline.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh, goodness. What's that? Oh. Woo. Woo.
Well, that's a good statement.
That is good. That is good.
Oh, I like that phrase.
Yes, it's perfect.
Perfect.
There we go.
They're just learning doing the outline dance.
Furthermore,
Consequently,
They're just learning doing the outline dance.
and in conclusion,
Cogent, well-organized arguments. You know, you both win.
yay! Doing the outline dance.
They're just learning doing the outline dance. They're just learning doing the outline dance. They're just learning doing the outline dance. Go outline, go outline, go outline, go outline. They're just learning doing the outline dance. They're just learning doing the outline dance.
One day, a man was walking along the beach when he noticed two children picking up and gently throwing things into the ocean.
Approaching the children, the man asked, "Young ones, what are you doing?"
Throwing starfish back into the ocean. The surf is up and the tide is going out.
"If we don't throw them back, they'll die," they replied.
The man peered down the long shoreline, then turned back to the children. "You must be practical," he said. "There are miles and miles of beach and hundreds of starfish. How can you hope to make any difference?"
made a difference for that one.
I 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 made a difference for that one.
The Star-Splitter by Robert Frost.
You know, Orion always comes up sideways, throwing a leg up over offensive mountains. And rising on his hands, he looks in on me, busy as does by lantern light, with something I should have done by daylight. And indeed, after the ground has frozen, I should have done before it froze.
And a gust flings a handful of waste leaves at my smoky lantern chimney to make fun of my way of doing things, or else fun of Orion's having caught me. Has a man, I should like to ask, no rights these forces are obliged to pay respect to?
So, Brad McLaughlin mingled reckless talk of heavenly stars with hugger-mugger farming. Till, having failed at hugger-mugger farming, he burned his house down for the fire insurance, and spent the proceeds on a telescope to satisfy a lifelong curiosity about our place among the infinities.
What do you want with one of those blame things? I asked him well beforehand. Don't you get one?
Don't call it blame. There isn't anything more blameless in the sense of being less a weapon in our human fight. He said, I'll have one if I sell my farm to buy it. There where he moved the rocks to plow the ground and plowed between the rocks he couldn't move, few farms changed hands.
So, rather than spend years trying to sell his farm and then not selling, he burned his house down for the fire insurance and bought the telescope with what it came to. He had been heard to say by several, the best thing we're put here for is to see. The strongest thing that's given us to see with's the telescope. Someone in every town, seems to me, owes it to the town to keep one. In Littleton, it may as well be me. After such loose talk, it was no surprise when he did what he did and burned his house down.
Mean laughter went about the town that day, to let him know we weren't the least imposed on, and he could wait. We'd see to him tomorrow. But the first thing next morning we reflected. If one by one we counted people out for the least sin, it wouldn't take us long to get so we had no one left to live with. For to be social is to be forgiving. Our thief, the one who does our stealing from us, we don't cut off from coming to church suppers, but what we miss we go to him and ask for. He promptly gives it back, that is, if still uneaten, unworn out, or undisposed of.
It wouldn't do to be too hard on Brad about his telescope. Beyond the age of being given one for Christmas gift, he had to take the best way he knew how to find himself in one.
Well, all we said was he took a strange thing to be roguish over.
Some sympathy was wasted on the house. A good old timer dating back a long. But the house isn't sentient. The house didn't feel anything. And if it did, why not regard it as a sacrifice? An old-fashioned sacrifice by fire instead of a new-fashioned one at auction.
Out of a house, and so out of a farm, at one stroke of a match, Brad had to turn to earn a living on the Concord Railroad as under-ticket agent at a station, where his job when he wasn't selling tickets was setting out up track and down, not plants as in a farm, but planets, evening stars that varied in their hues from red to green.
He got a good glass for $600. His new job gave him leisure for stargazing. Often he bid me come and have a look up the brass barrel, velvet black inside, at a star quaking on the other end.
I recollect a night of broken clouds, and underfoot snow melted down to ice, and melting further in the wind to mud. Bradford and I had out the telescope. We spread our two legs as it spread its three, pointed our thoughts the way we pointed it, and standing at our leisure till the day broke, said some of the best things we ever said.
That telescope was christened the Star-Splitter because it didn't do a thing but split a star in 2 or 3, the way you split a globule of quicksilver in your hand with one stroke of your finger in the middle. It's a star splitter if there ever was one. and ought to do some good if splitting star's a thing to be compared to splitting wood.
We've looked and looked, but after all, where are we? Do we know any better where we are? And how it stands between the night to night and a man with a smoking lantern chimney? How different from the way it ever stood.
We made a difference for that one.
We made a difference for that one.
In the bleak midwinter, frosty wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter long ago. Angels and archangels may have gathered there, cherubim and seraphim thronged the air, but his mother only in her maiden bliss worshipped the beloved with a kiss. Oh, what can I give him, poor as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give him? Give my heart. In the bleak midwinter, frosty winds made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. Yet what can I give him? Give my heart. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind?
Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. And there's a hand, my trusty friend, and give me a hand, old line, and we'll take a right good will drop for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup
Old Lang Syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for Old Lang Syne.
Moon is right, spirits up. We're here tonight, and that's enough. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmastime. Simply having a Star-Splitter Christmastime. Nothing looks as pretty as the winter stars are glittering, shining on a freshly fallen snow. And the blue light of the moon is giving off a loving winter glow. Hi, 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 hi! Hi, 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 hi! Hi, hi, hi!